Hello, coaches, and welcome to our little coaches meeting / going over rules for girls softball for Provo Parks and Rec 2026. I'm just going to use this meeting to go through a few rules that may have changed from last year or might be a little bit more confusing than others. However, you will have access to this full rule book on Quick Scores. If you would like a copy, please reach out to me. I'm happy to print you whatever copy or however many copies you want / need to understand the rules in full. If you ever have any questions on the rules during a game, obviously ask the umpire. Don't be afraid to look up a rule. If there's some confusion, reach out to site supervisors, or as always, you can shoot me an email. So let's begin. And first of all, I'm not going to go over everything, as some of it you already know or possibly can know, and you can just read it yourself. I'll go over more of the things that can be confused or who have changed. So first of all, we'll just go team and player assignments, which we've already taken care of the draft. One important thing when people are playing is everybody needs to be in their jersey. However, they cannot wear metal spikes or jewelry while they're playing in our league. So everyone needs to have their uniform on. As far as they don't have to wear softball pants if they don't want to. We recommend softball pants or anything athletic that will protect their legs if they're sliding or anything, but absolutely no metal spikes or jewelry. Schedules and games have already been out. They're on Quick Scores. Time limits will be part of all of our leagues. So 3rd and 4th grade, your games will go 1 hour and 10 minutes or 6 innings. 5th and 6th, 1 hour and 20 minutes or 6 innings. 7th through 9th, 1 hour and 20 minutes or 7 innings. So teams will have 5 minutes before the game time before you're forfeited if you're not there and ready to play. The game, however, even if it's forfeited, will still be played, and the players will be divided evenly between both teams, but the team with not enough players will forfeit that win. So, for example, if I had the Yankees and the Red Sox playing one another, and the Red Sox only had 6 girls and the Yankees had 10, the Red Sox on Quick Scores will be awarded that forfeit, so the Yankees will be awarded the win. However, you're then going to take the 10 and 6 girls, combine them, 16, divide them by 2, 8, split them up, 8 and 8, and then you'll play your game, so the girls still get to play. All 3rd through 9th grade games will play a 6-run offensive limit during the first 2 innings. This is a little bit changed from last year. Last year on the 6th run, the play was live, so you had potential to score 9 runs inning. And due to feedback from coaches and parents, we understood that last play kind of created chaos and sense of everyone running for home, girls getting ran over, the ball being thrown everywhere, and just not being productive. So we have changed it. So the first 2 innings of the game, there's a 6-run offensive limit. As soon as that 6th run crosses the plate, the play will be called dead immediately. So if you have a girl on second, while a girl at home scores for the 6th run, the umpire will call end of inning or dead ball or anything, and then that inning will end. We have changed this trying to adapt to some feedback, but also keep our players safe. We understand a lot of collisions were happening during that live last play thing. However, in order to also avoid ties after 2 innings, there will be no run cap rule. However, regular mercy rules still apply. So if you're the visiting team and you're down by 8 and you enter the last inning, you can still score 8 runs to win. However, the mercy rules still apply. So if somebody's ahead by 15 after 3 innings, then the game's still over regardless of that rule. In all leagues, if a team is leading its opponent by at least 15 runs after 3 innings, 12 after 4, or 8 after 5 innings, the team in the lead will be declared the winner. So that still applies. However, the new cap rule of 6 runs an inning, and you only can score 6. Your last play is not live. So please keep that in mind as we go into this league. Here's this chart that you can look at. It talks about how far ahead you need to be and all of that. So no designated hitters, intentional walks are not allowed, and no walks are allowed in the 3rd and 4th grade. So we're keeping this the same as last year in the sense that 3rd, 4th grades won't have walks, and we'll cover a little bit more about that in a second. A new rule this year is in 3rd through 4th grade leagues, a batter may not advance on a drop 3rd strike. However, 5th through 9th grade can advance on a drop 3rd strike. So if the 3rd strike is a called strike or the girl swings at a strike and the catcher drops it. If the first base is not occupied, then the runner can advance. However, as soon as the runner declares her direction, so if she heads to the dugout and goes in the dugout, she's out. So there's no pulling a girl out of the dugout because she forgot to run on a third strike. She's out. But, however, if they immediately leave the batter's box to head to first, they can go. However, if the catcher throws it to first and beats the runner, they're still out, or if the runner gets tagged. The infield fly rule will not apply in 3rd through 6th grade leagues. The catchers need to be quiet in the batter's box, no trash talking the batter or anything like that. In 3rd and 4th grade, no bunting's allowed. If a bunt is attempted, the play is dead and the pitch will be counted as a strike. If a girl swings and it's just, she tips it a little bit and it's a fair ball, then the umpire is going to make a judgment call on what that ball is. But if she didn't mean to bunt it and it just kind of happened, most of that play will still continue. Tie games, we're going to do the same rule as usual when it comes to the tournament, as innings will start with a runner on second base. However, in the regular season, games can end in a tie. No less than 7 uniform players should be fielded, so just make sure you have 7 on the field. Like I said, if you have less than that and you need to forfeit and then combine teams, you can do that. This is how to do a protest and how to do it correctly. If you have issues, please follow this protocol for protest. That's the way you do it correctly. Coaching, as far as coaching goes, you can have 2 coaches on the field. They can be on the baseline. The only rule is during an inning, coaches can't switch from like third base to first base. So wherever you start, you need to stay. No tobacco, smoking, alcohol, anything like that in any form by the players or adults in the dugout. Just an FYI, keep the kids safe. Any flagrant behavior from any manager or coach will not be tolerated. If you or your coach is removed from the game, he or she will leave the ballpark without exception. Depending on the behavior, the person could or will be asked to meet with his league or coordinator. Coaches are responsible for their own crowd control during the game. So if you have a rowdy parent, as a coach, that is your responsibility to take care of that parent. Conferences, as far as calling timeouts, we try to limit these. Obviously, we want you to use them if you need them, but there's a little bit more about that. As far as pitching goes, we kind of have typical pitching rules. You can see the nfhs.org rule for further explanation. Okay, we're going to go back to the 3rd and 4th grade no walk rule. For those of you who are new, we don't allow walks in 3rd and 4th grade. This is to try to teach the girls how to pitch. However, we understand that there's a lot of walks as these are young girls and pitching isn't very accurate, to say the least. So in order to teach the girls how to pitch, but also how to swing the bat and begin to learn how to hit the ball, if a batter receives 4 called balls, a coach will enter the game to pitch for his own team's batter. The coach gets to pitch 4 times minus the number of strikes pitched until the batter hits the ball or strikes out. The pitcher stays in the pitching circle to play defense if the ball is hit. If the coach is needed to step in and pitch, please do your best to stay out of the play if it becomes a live ball. Any ball accidentally hitting the coach is live and playable. So here's a few scenarios on how to explain that a little better. So a batter receives a count of 4 balls and 1 strike. The coach enters the game and pitches a maximum of 3 pitches because you take the 4 maximum minus the 1 strike, 3 pitches. The first 2 pitches are called strikes. So whether she swings or the umpire calls them strikes, the batter's out even though the 3rd pitch has not been thrown. So another example is a batter receives a count of 4 balls and 0 strikes. Coach enters the game and pitches a maximum of 4 pitches because they have no strikes. The coach throws 4 poor pitches that the girl cannot hit. The batter is still out because you have your maximum of 4 pitches. So another scenario is batter receives a count of 4 balls and 2 strikes. Coach enters the game and pitches a maximum of 2 pitches. The first pitch is hit for a single. The batter is on base. So pretty straightforward there. Last scenario is a batter receives a count of 4 balls and 1 strike. Coach enters the game and pitches a maximum of 3 pitches. The first 2 pitches are balls and the girl hits the 3rd pitch foul. The batter receives another pitch until she either hits the ball, strikes out, or receives another ball or a foul ball on the last pitch. No matter how many last pitches results in another pitch to her. So she can continue to foul it off as normal. However, as soon as she misses one or hits one play, she's either out or she can run to the base. Base running is pretty standard as far as when the girls can leave and not. Obviously, in softball, there's no way to pick a girl off. It's like baseball. So as soon as the ball is entered into the circle with the pitcher, the runner needs to decide on which direction they're going. Here's another rule change for the year with base running. 5th through 9th graders, the base runners, shall not leave their bases until the pitcher releases the ball to the batter. Any runners that leave early will be out. The pitch ball becomes then a dead ball. So in the past, we've made them wait until it crosses the plate, which is not a high school or like a softball rule in very many leagues. So we wanted to change this and get these girls ready to play at the next level. So they can leave when the ball leaves the pitcher's hand. However, if they leave early, they're going to be called out. 3rd and 4th graders still need to learn. They can leave when the ball crosses the plate that way. So we encourage a lot of sliding just to avoid contact. As far as the 90-second rule goes, this is through 7th and 9th grades only. This is just basically after the 3rd out, get your team ready to go on the field. If you need to use speed up runners for catchers, go for it. If the catcher is going to be like the last out. So try to keep the games going. We want to get these girls as many innings as possible. As far as equipment playing their field, there's regulations on that. Here's a chart of like pitching distances, base distances, what age group, the regulation of games, so however many inning, and then also the size of bats that they get to use. So helmets do need to have a face mask on them. If on the equipment you were given, if you have a not so great piece of equipment, please let me know on opening day. I'm happy to switch those out for you. Teams should do their pregame warm-ups outside of the foul lines, especially if the field has just been prepped. So we only prep these fields once. So if you have the 5 o'clock game, you'll have a fresh field. If you have the 6:30 or 6:45 game, you will have somebody who'd already played on it. So we want to keep these fields as fresh as long as possible. Other than that, I believe that is all the rules that we're going to go over today. If you have any questions, like I said, please don't hesitate to reach out. And also, please, before your first game, read through all the rules and make sure you understand everything that's going on. So, thank you.